Hey, what's up, you guys? So, today I want to do a quick video talking about the new updated version of Sonimus is SonEQPro. Recently, they have updated their SonEQPro to actually work in Pro Tools 11 and 12 natively now. So, now they're AAX, and I thought I'd do a quick little review and kind of talk about it since now I can use it in all my DAWs. Lately, I've been really using Studio One a lot, but I still do use Pro Tools sometimes for some clients. So this thing now works in pretty much every DAW, which I think is awesome because this is a really nice EQ. I genuinely really like this EQ. Let's get more into it. Basically, from what I understand, this is the pro version of their SonEQ, which basically acted like a really nice like Pultec style EQ. And this one has basically taken that idea and put it on steroids hardcore. So from left to right, you have a low shelf, a low cut, and yes, you can do the little Pultec trick with this. And it goes from 20 hertz all the way to 100 hertz. What's really cool about this though is see this little bell feature right under it? When you flip the switch, you can actually see these little change right here. See how it's a shelf? Now it's a little notch, and see how this says Q? What that basically does is it makes the low boost into a little notch filter where the Q control is now where the low cut was. So now as you can see right here, I'm actually getting like a nice little Q control so I can get a tight little thing. Like let's say if I want to boost some of my kick drum, take a little kind of boost on my kick drum, I can make it really wide or really tight, which is really cool. I really like it. I think that these filters sound really, really good. Next, you have the low mid, which has a 10 dB booster cut from 70 hertz all the way to 2 kilohertz. You have a high Q, which makes it really nice and tight. And one thing that I really like with that is I can do like, let's say I get a little bit of boxiness going around here. I can just take it out and not ruin like the overall tone, because this is a big tone shaping EQ, I like to think of it as. And if I'm going to be using it to cut, I don't want to take a huge chunk of the source audio. So I'll just do a little like notch thing right there and like tuck it down. And one thing I do notice is that the more you boost or cut, the tighter it gets, and I like that. Now let's see, if we go to the high mids, again you have a 10 dB. At least it says 10 dB booster cut, but I've noticed like in the low mids, it goes all the way to like 12 dB. But one thing that's interesting about the high mid is that the high mid boost is way wider than the cut. It slopes down a lot, like it tapers much quicker than this, where it goes all the way to basically 50 hertz and 5K. Where when you cut it, it stops at about like 100 hertz and 5K. Now this goes from 1K to 6.8K, so 1000 hertz to 6.8 thousand hertz. This also has a high Q, which makes it a little bit tighter. But I've noticed that the high mid band, I like it for more boosting and tone shaping. So I'm actually really glad that they've chosen that band to be a little bit looser and not so tight. To me, that's a really good little addition. They also have this really, really sweet sounding high shelf. Like, I'm not joking. I love this high shelf. And this is notched at 6, 8, 12, and 15 kilohertz. And you also have a cut. But what's interesting about the cut is that they use different forms of filtering to make these cuts. So as you can see with the high shelf cut, it's really smooth and really gradual. And it's actually really, really nice. And then when you do the low pass minus the high shelf, you get like a different frequency, which I believe it kind of is probably following its main frequencies right here. But if you notice, you can get some really interesting shapes. Like this sounds nothing like this, or like this, or like this. I really like that. I think that's interesting. Now you have this really nice, accurate low pass filter that goes from 10 hertz all the way to 250 hertz. And as you can see from the graph, it's really, really smooth and really clean. And like I said, it's very accurate. Now the low pass is, I think, one of the coolest features. Is if you look at how smooth that is, even at like really extreme amounts, like that looks like a really smooth high shelf to me. And it sounds really, really good. I really, really like this. This is probably one of my favorite things to use this for, is to get rid of excess noise without sounding harsh. Now, one thing that I really like about this EQ is that the drive is basically, it's a saturation circuit, but if you notice, you get this low end bump. And I've noticed that with the harmonic distortion that it's adding, it's not really adding harmonic distortions that go all the way over here to like the super high end. From what I'm like noticing is it kind of adds some beef and bottom to it. As you can see, kind of like some more harmonics were built up. Um, I really like this feature. I use this mainly for when I want to give something beef without adding a lot of volume to it, like kick drums and stuff. And let me show you what I mean right here is you'll notice on pretty much anything that has kick on it, I've driven this really hard. So if I go to the actual kick drum, I've driven this all the way to 10 because I like the sound that I'm getting out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you guys some examples real quick of what this is going to do, because what I have this on is I have this on on my bass bus, my guitar bus, and my drum bus. As you can see, this session hasn't even been fully mixed. This is just me getting like a rough idea. And all I did was I kind of did a little bit of EQing with the SonEQPro on the drums, and then I used my M Auto Align to phase and time align everything. So we're going to play the audio, and then I'm going to have it unbypassed, start off unbypassed, and then I'm going to bypass it. When it turns yellow and these turns blue, that means all the EQs are turned off. What I want you to listen to is listen to the kick drum, listen to the presence of the where the guitar sits, and listen to how the bass kind of gets in and out of the way when I take it out. So here we go. So hopefully you could really hear that. To me, that's very obvious and very noticeable. And what I'm basically doing is I'm using this as a really big tone shaping thing. I'm taking stuff out of the way that shouldn't be in the way, and I'm putting stuff like that should be featured in a certain instrument, and I'm kind of driving that up. And I think the most noticeable change is going to be with the electric guitar here. So let me play you the electric guitar with it bypassed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbypass, and you're going to hear really what I'm doing to change it. So this is with the SonEQ off. So that is a huge change, and that is a really nice change to me. It sounds really natural. I really wanted this to sound really twangy, but I believe we used a I don't remember if we used a Gibson. I forgot what guitar we used, but we wanted I kind of wanted more like a Fender sound, but the artist, the guitar player, didn't have a Fender, and I only have Gibsons and Jacksons and Sevilles and stuff like that. I don't have a Fender, so we couldn't use something from me to get that twangy sound. So I'm using this. So that's really impressive to me. I'm not used to an EQ that can do that. Now next, let's listen to the kick drum, or the drums in general. So you can hear him getting a little bit more body. I'm getting a little bit more thwack out of the snare. I'm also taking out a little bit of boxiness, just a tiny bit. I'm also adding a little bit of air, but I'm also cutting frequencies. So one thing that I really, really like about this EQ, like I said before, was I really dig the effect I get with the drive. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the drive up all the way to 10. I'm gonna back off on the gain so we don't get a gain difference. And I want you to listen to just the kick drum when it hits. When it's bypassed, listen to how much less body it has. Let's go to a place where it has lots of kick drum. You hear that, how that's just the saturation. It's really smooth and clean, and it's kind of like making it warmer. And because it is making it a little warmer, it seems like we're losing a little bit of high end, so we can just use a shelf. So I mean, you can hear how like clean and smooth everything sounds. I'm loving the way it sounds. And then for the bass, what I'm mainly doing for the bass, I'm making it sound a lot brighter because I want that kick drum to really kind of feature the low end. So I'm kind of cutting a lot of frequencies. I'm cutting all the way to 80 hertz because that's all the kick drum. And then I'm also cutting around 3 dB at about 100 hertz because it kind of has this like little overtone that sometimes gets in the way. And then I'm just boosting from like 10 dB at like 5K. And then I'm also boosting at 6K 3 dB. I also have the drive all the way up. I'm having a low pass again at like 11 kilohertz. I think I have it here on the drums at like 14. And the guitar is around like 15. So, let's listen to the bass. And you'll hear that this kind of sounds a little bit like weird. It doesn't sound like amazing in solo, but in the context of everything, that's when it's like, all right, cool, that fits now. So I'm going to play it with it bypassed, and then we're going to bring it back in. So, I'm really just bringing out that string sound because what I want to do with the drums is when it's playing together, I want it to not get in the way anymore. And that's basically it. I know this has kind of been a long video, but that is basically the basic idea of everything, of how I want it to sound and how I want it to be. Overall, I'm really happy with this EQ, and I highly recommend it. This is pretty cheap, and I think if we actually go to the website, it'll tell you how much it is. But it's really not expensive, and it's really, really cool. I'm digging the sound that I'm getting out of it, and I'm primarily using it, I find, as my bus EQ, which is actually something pretty new to me. I usually don't do any EQing on the buses, but I am really digging the way I got things to like vibe and groove on the actual drums. So I'm gonna mess with this a little more and try to see like where it can like it's really gonna sit. Because right now I think it's strongest as my bus EQ, and it might just move over to my submix where I can do more like tone shaping and stuff like that. But this is a great tone shaping EQ. I love it. I love the drive, and honestly, I'm really happy that Sonimus is like updating all this stuff to make it work in Pro Tools because it's this like the second something like their Britson came out in to work in Pro Tools, I was just like so happy. But anyway, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys liked this. Let me know what you guys think. Leave comments. I love reading you guys' comments. I've been getting a lot of personal messages on YouTube. Honestly, I really don't. I keep forgetting how to check my inbox there. So every time I go to check it, like I respond to everyone like months later. But leave comments, and if you guys want to see anything specific, let me know. I actually have a lot of stuff that I'm gonna be doing. Now that the holidays are over, I'm back and I'm able to actually go do this more often. I know NAMM's coming up. If you guys want to hang out, maybe like I don't know, have a drink or something, hit me up. I will be doing the Blue Cat audio booth for music marketing. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.